Hey, Cub fans! Thanks for joining us here on Cubs 24/7, where Randy talks Cubs. We'll have to talk about the 10-2 loss that we took in San Diego tonight, losing the rubber game of that series with the Padres. It's hard to take, but I gotta admit, to me, it kind of panned out the way I thought it would. I thought we would get to Dylan Cease, which we did not. But I thought Kyle would do what Kyle ended up doing tonight. So I can't say that I'm all that surprised, even though I'm disappointed about it. But yeah, we lose the series 2-1, heading to Seattle, drop down to now 7-5. Blowing that 8-run lead we had. Sure looks bad now. So we're going to have to regroup, head to Seattle, and get things going. So let's talk about what happened tonight. Here's the lineup. Ian Happ led off again, DHing tonight. Seiya Suzuki was in right field, hitting second. Bellinger hitting third in center field. Christopher Morel back at third base, hitting cleanup. They moved Michael Busch up to the fifth spot and dropped Dansby down. So Busch was at first base hitting fifth, Dansby at shortstop hitting sixth. Tauchman got the start in left field tonight, hitting seventh. Amaya behind the plate hitting eighth, and Miles Mastroboni gave Nico the night off at second base. So I guess the lineup didn't surprise me really with what it was. I guess I expected to see Nico as usual. When I saw that he wasn't in, I thought, oh, they dropped him down, and then I saw that Miles was in there. But so Nico got the night off. I'm worried about him, and maybe this time off is what he needs. And before we get off, because I probably won't talk about him the rest of this video because he didn't play. We talked about what's he doing at the plate. Defensively, he's looking close to what he was. And we talk about his slug and his swing and miss in the zone and his chase. And I think maybe he just came in and maybe he had too much pressure on him to slug, because he's slugging none. I mean, he has no home runs. His slug is about as low as a slug can be. The only thing he is doing, he's walking a little bit and he's scoring some runs. But boy, when you look at his numbers, they're really, I'm going to call it weird. All of a sudden, Nico Hoerner can't hit. So I don't know. Maybe this 2 days off will help him. Maybe he'll come back and just go back to doing what you were doing. Put the ball in play, barrel it up. Don't worry about the slug. Slug has to come naturally. That's not new in baseball. You can't. Every time you try to hit a home run, you swing too hard and you swing and miss. Slug has to come naturally. You gotta just make good contact, and hopefully Nico will get back to that. So that was the lineup. It didn't go all that well. We scored 2 runs, only had 3 hits, walked 3 times, struck out 9. And Dylan Cease had our number, guys. That guy's nasty. He was a Cub. We drafted him. That's a whole other story. Dylan Cease, 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, walked 2, struck out 7. His ERA in the season is now down to 2.16. And Michael Busch homered off of him in the 4th inning, hit a 405-foot home run to right center, and that followed an error on their shortstop Hassan Kim, allowing Morel to reach. But in Kim's defense, it was a 109-mile-an-hour rocket off of Morel's bat, but it was right at him and it just ate him up, shin-burgered him, and they gave him an error. So those 2 at-bats back-to-back is about really all Cease did wrong. He left a breaking ball up in the zone a little bit, and Busch ambushed it. But Dylan Cease was nasty. He topping out 100 miles an hour. We couldn't do anything with him. He locked us down. So I didn't think he would do that. I thought he'd be tough. I thought eventually we'd do what we do and grind out at bats and put the ball in play, and eventually we would break through, and it never happened. Ian goes 0 for 3 with a walk. Seiya had some really horrible at bats. Cease caught him looking in the first, and then in the 4th inning, he struck out swinging on a ball that was at least 6 inches out of the strike zone up. So Seiya looked Sale looked as bad as he's looked all year tonight against Dylan Cease, 0 for 4. Bellinger goes 0 for 4. He didn't look good. Bellinger's only hitting 191, and guys, he went 1 for 11 in the series in the 3-hole. So I heard the 1 for 11, and I know he's been running right at the Mendoza line here lately, and I'm like, well, he hit those couple of home runs, so that's been about it. So we're not getting much out of Belly in that 3-hole. Morrell went 0 for 4. He hit the ball hard a couple times. He hit that 109 mile per hour shot to the shortstop error. And in the second inning, his first at bat, he hits a laser to center field. So Morrell hit the ball. I'm going to say he hit the ball hard tonight. Got on base on the air, scored that run he was on when Bush homered. Bush hit the homer. He went 1 for 4. Dansby went 1 for 2 with a walk. No, I take that back. Dansby went 1 for 4. He had a single in the 7th. Talkman went 1 for 2 with a strikeout and a double before he got pulled for Cooper in the 8th inning. Cooper came in and hit for him. Amaya went 0 for 3. A couple strikeouts, 6-4-3 double play. Miles Masterboni 0 for 2. Pop out to third base. Foul pop, I believe, as I recall. Fly out to left field. And Nick Madrigal came in, pinch hit, and Nick went ground out 3-1. So 3 hits total. The 1 home run, 4 guys left on base, not enough traffic to even leave anybody on base. Only 3 at bats with runners in scoring position, and we were 0 for 3. Dylan Cease and even the rest of the Padres pitchers came in, they just had their thumb on us, so it wasn't good. So we need this day to kind of regroup. But coming into the matchup, Dylan Cease and Kyle Hendricks, that's why I was pretty upset about the blown 8-run lead, because I came into this series wanting the first 2 because I anticipated that we were maybe outmatched in this finale with Kyle and Dylan. It sure turned out that way. Dylan Cease was awesome, and Kyle was, well, you know what? He was Kyle. I don't even know what the adjective is, but let's just talk about what Kyle is. And what Kyle is now is not what Kyle was. We're talking now about what Kyle is right now. And I'm talking about from spring training all the way through to tonight. 3 games into the season, 12 2/3 innings, Kyle's got a 12.08 ERA. And that's about what he was running in his 2 or 3 outings that we talked about in spring training. So I'm going to say that's 6 games now where I've been talking about this with Kyle Hendricks. Kyle Hendricks' stuff isn't good enough to get these hitters out unless he puts it exactly where he has to put it. He has no margin for error. He's got to throw darts. He can't throw a strike. He's got to throw it just 2 inches off the strike zone. And that was in my head. And watching the way that Miguel Amaya would give him the target tonight, did you guys notice? Like, to a lefty, he wanted it in, and Amaya's giving him a target that's off the plate in a lot. Amaya didn't want him to throw a strike. He never wanted a strike. He wanted it off the edge, left and right. So Kyle's capable of doing that for a little while, and he did. First inning, he goes 1, 2, 3, gets some ground outs, some rollovers, only 13 pitches. So he didn't really throw anything that they could hit. Second inning, he gives up 3 hits and 2 runs, but it was more like the first inning in that they didn't hit the ball hard. I'm talking about 3 hits in that inning. Probably average exit velocity on the 3 hits was probably like 65, 70 miles an hour. One was cued, one was fisted, one was a slow roller. It was just a series of bad luck that Kyle ran into in the second inning, gave up those 2 runs. Comes back in the third, goes 1, 2, 3 on 6 pitches. So now at the end of the third, I'm starting to think, okay, maybe that's Kyle. Maybe he's back. And at the time, I was thinking, in addition to those hits in the second inning being just weak hits, that I'd give Kyle credit for doing what he's supposed to do. I thought, boy, he's been really precise, and can he sustain it? That was my question. Can he sustain it? Well, we get to the 4th inning, and the answer is no, he cannot. starts leaving that sinker up, starts catching the plate. Next thing you know, 3 hits, 2 runs in the fourth inning. So he comes back, gets through the fifth, another good inning, goes 1, 2, 3 in the fifth. I'm like, okay. Maybe we can survive that 2-run fourth, the 2 runs we gave up in the second. We're down 4-2. Kyle's pitch count's not up. He comes in for the sixth, and guys, it goes homer, single, homer. I mean, boom, boom, boom. 3 runs, didn't get an out in the sixth, and he's pulled. So he walks off the mound in the sixth inning, didn't get an out. We're down 7-2. Dylan Cease is on the mound, and everybody knew that was it. Kyle walked out. I was trying to read Kyle's mind, and he's like, that might be all I got. That Kyle might be thinking that's what I can do, because it looked like that's all he can do. So we're gonna have to see. We'll have to see what happens. It's going to be an interesting decision moving forward. Next time Kyle comes up in the rotation, my question is to you guys: are you willing to give Kyle Hendricks the ball on his next round? Give me some options, and I have to talk about it. So that's the situation we're in. The Kyle Hendricks. I don't know. Have we seen enough? Do we move him to the pen? Do we give him another run? We'll have to see what happens. Palencia comes in. He pitches 2 innings, pitches the rest of the sixth, pitches the seventh. He does okay. Gives up 2 hits, 2 runs, walked 3, loses his command, struck out 3. And then Quas comes in the eighth, and we know what happened with Jose on Monday night. There was a lot of talk. Everybody's, we're trying to run him out of town, and that may be what ends up happening. He may be getting DFA'd soon, but they brought him in, and I was thinking, okay, this is an opportunity. Let's see him again in a situation where he really can't hurt us, right? It's, we're already down 9-2, and it doesn't look like we're going to be able to pull it out. So Quas comes in, ends up gives up a hit, a run, walks a guy, hits a guy in the 8th inning. And I just seen a piece recently on Nelson Velasquez, and I can't give you the exact numbers, and it just popped into my mind right here that Nelson Velasquez, the last I saw, is really doing well, and I really like Nelson. And as of right now, it's looking like that Nelson Velasquez trade for Jose Quas, we might be on the losing end of that bad boy, but we'll have to see. It's going to be interesting what they do with Quas. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Kyle. A little bit of good news. I wrote this down before I started. I want to have some good news. We made some pretty good plays in the field. 3rd inning, Dansby came in, made a nice play in a slow roller, threw a guy out. 4th inning, Belly cuts a gapper off. Guy hits what probably is going to be a double. Belly gets to it in the right center field gap, slides, backhands it, stands up and throws a second base, holds the guy to a single. That's a really good play. Also in the 4th, that's the other thing. In Kyle's 4th inning, where he gave up those 2 with the 3 hits, we made 2 really good plays. One of their guys hit a gapper that looked like it was going to be a triple, right center field. Belly cuts it off, throws it to Miles. Miles throws a really awesome relay to Christopher to gun that guy down at 3rd. So that was an out that could have been a triple. So Kyle's 4th inning could have been worse. A couple of good plays were made. 5th inning, Morrell made a nice play. Backhanded a ball going toward the line, stood up, gunned one over. Looked good. So he has put a couple, maybe 3 games together, error-free, but starting to look a little bit better. So I guess that's a little bit of the good news. If we're trying to find the silver lining in all this tonight. So we dropped to 7-5. We're still over 500. We got our ace, Justin Steele, who's coming back soon. Hopefully Tyone's coming back. I literally, before I got on here, I checked on a couple things. I saw Patrick Wisdom hit another home run for Iowa today. So it looks like Patrick Wisdom is healthy. He's going to be showing up soon. And I know he's got issues with swing and miss, but at this point, maybe he can help. So I'm actually looking forward to it, believe it or not, getting Patrick Wisdom back, get him in the lineup and see what he can do. Friday night looks like Wicks is scheduled Friday night in Seattle, Shota on Saturday, and Assad on Sunday. So I do like the Wicks, Shota, Assad lineup. Maybe we can go into the Mariners and sweep that bad boy. We really need to do that. So, guys, that's where we are. 7-5 Cubs headed to Seattle to play the Mariners. I don't know anything about the Mariners yet, but I will. I will do some research, and I'll put together a little scouting report on them and get that up for us so we can kind of get our heads around those Mariners before we show up. So I'll get those to us here relatively quickly. That's all I got. 7-5 Cubs, 10-2 loss tonight. Not a lot of good news, and we'll have to just see what kind of adjustments are going to be made here moving forward in the short term. But guys, thanks for joining us here in Cubs 24/7, where Randy talks Cubs. Love having you. Go Cubs, go.